You're watching The Whole Living Show on Trajectory TV.
You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
Without truth, freedom doesn't exist. My soul has always been based on the principles of freedom, which is getting to the core or truth of an issue. Choosing the name Radical Press embodies me. When you look at the etymology of the word radical, it's about getting to the root of shit, derived from the Latin word radix, which literally means root. Press is the medium in which we use. Press can be in print, video, voice, or any type of media that gets information to the people. Radical Press Magazine is about bringing truthful information and real knowledge to the people through a different lens.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Whole Living Show. Here we are, and I'm so excited because we have the beautiful ladies of the Radical Press Magazine back again, and the second issue has dropped, everybody, and it is just amazing as the first. Like I said before, it is an experience, so we are going to get into the conversation with the ladies and what they put in the magazine, but before we do that, I have a story to tell you. So we had a bit of a scare on Friday. I was at home working, sitting at my computer, and I got an all call that went out, a voice message, and then a text message that followed, and then an email as well from my son's school that said the school was on lockdown, that there was a possible gunman on campus. So, of course, I immediately got up from my desk and hightailed it out of here, out of my house. But what I was comforted by was the fact that my son was texting me to say that he was okay, that his classroom was on lockdown, that they had barricaded themselves in, and he was fine, that the police were outside with rifles. And that's what took place. So me and all of the other parents, concerned about their children, we all went up there and we stood on campus where the police allowed us to. We did not interfere with the police investigation. We allowed them to do exactly what they needed to do, but we were all concerned, so we were standing on campus. So it ended up that it was what the police called a hoax, but it wasn't really a hoax. The kids actually started to distribute a social media post from another student who said, "Do not go to school tomorrow," with a gun in his hand pointed down by his face. So because of that, because one other student saw this particular post, of course they alerted, the principal and their teachers, and of course the staff went into action. They called the police, and that's why the lockdown happened, because they have to take precaution before they allowed any of the students to leave the building. They did a full sweep, and they sweep every classroom separately before they start to allow the kids to disseminate. After they check the external, then they go in, they check the internal, and they sweep every classroom. So all of that was done. That particular child did not have a gun with him, but it was a threat, and they did take it as a threat. So of course, that was a scary experience as a parent. It was a scary experience for those kids that were on lockdown. However, I want to also talk about and touch on, the help that the child who posted on social media, that the help that child needs, right? Because apparently something is happening with that young individual. And I hope and I pray that the parents and the teachers and the counselors and the officers, that they get to the bottom of what's potentially happening to or with that child, where he felt like he needed to make a post like that. So I hope that, someone is not hurting him, where he thought that he needed to protect himself in that way and give a person a warning. But I am in the South, and, it's a lot easier in the South to have a firearm than it is in the North. And I'm from the North. So I'm saying this because I do know this. It's a lot easier to get a firearm here in the South. But I don't want people to take this lightly, right? Because it's been happening way too much around the country. And, we want to protect our kids, but we also want to understand our kids and understand what's going on, and talk to your children, and don't, ask them what's happening in school and what's happening in their life. So I wanted to mention that, to always keep the lines of communication open with your children. I know life gets busy, but it should not be too busy to understand your kids and find out what's happening in their lives so that you can help them where they need it, right? So I just wanted to mention that. So I thank you, everybody, for listening to me there. We want to keep our kids safe. This is happening way too much around this country, way too much. And people are getting hurt from it. And I think, sometimes it's a cry out. So let's listen to the cries. Okay. All right, everybody. So I have the beautiful ladies of the Radical Press here. So we're just going to bring them on in. We have the founder and CEO herself, Radical Press Magazine. Yes, Jamie Lane. Hello. Hello, hello. We have the beautiful Summer Garcia as well. We have the Oracle of Apollo, contributor extraordinaire as well. And we have Brandy DJ, the Disconnector, another contributor extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you guys back. Listen, when you were here last time, we had so much fun. Now, I do have, tissue ready, but I'm not going to cry this time.
Lies. I call lies already.
But I absolutely love all of you beautiful ladies. So it really is tears of joy. Last time it was tears of joy. I know it will be the same today, but I want to get into the magazine because I know that question was out there about, what have you learned in order to get to success, right? Mm-hmm. That's what this issue was about. And I was going through the magazine and I'm like, ooh, these articles are so good. And I have to say, oh my God, these creators here, Jamie Lane and Eric, oh my gosh. Like it's
really good.
It is so good. And it's so applicable to like each and every person that like you really capture everybody's personality, their energy, their aura. Like I was looking at the Alpha Betrayal, and that's the Oracle of Apollo's article, right? But the pictures that you put in there capture the essence of who she is, right? So I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm looking at my articles, we got the jumping jacks going on. And I'm like, you guys are so creative and so thoughtful in how you're doing the magazine. Like this is it's so good. So I want everybody to go around, and when you're talking about like, how did you come up with your article for this month's issue?
Go ahead. You want me to go?
Anyway,
Well, you talked about the alpha betrayal. That Eric actually did that article.
Okay.
I fixed it a lot. It was a long article. It's actually on our website.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was important because a lot of men think they're alphas. A lot of people think they're alphas. But the thing is, with alpha comes responsibility. And we, the men who call themselves alphas, just because you have to stop throwing in a penis.
Alpha.
Yeah. And that's not how it works, because you don't get everything that comes with alpha and then treat us like garbage, and you're greedy, and the people have nothing. You have everything. You have 99% of all of our resources, and we have the 1%. So you can be the 1%, and we're in the bottom 99.
Yeah.
So that was important to us because that directly affects us in every single way as a consumer, as an entrepreneur, and how we're all connected and stuff. So I thought that was really important to put in this issue.
I have a question for you there. As you were talking about that, I was just thinking, how would you want the men to change their support of women?
I think they need to drop their egos and really be open-minded. They think that we're out to get them. Oh, feminine. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you're dumb. Because we're not. We need to be treated equal. Let me. Hello, honey.
I'm
I got
dead.
that little guy.
I'm dead right now.
Let me put some in perspective for you. We have been America for 247 years ruled by men.
Mm-hmm.
Those are facts. So when we're in $1 trillion debt, 2 trillion approaching, do you think for 1 second, even if this was the first year a woman president was ever president, even though we've never had a woman leader, and I can't even take the presidency seat seriously anymore. I forgot we even had one, seriously. Because I don't recognize it or acknowledge it. Do you think she'd get away with that?
Nah.
Do you think if Black Lives Matter or any female, Latina, any type of female, anything, do you think for 1 second she'd be allowed to do what Trump did by not doing his vendors, what iHeart did to their people? Do you think for 1 second that a female ran leadership would get away with this shit? Not for one. No, we used to be burned at the stake.
I was about to say that. Like, yeah.
So I know damn well, I'm trying to quit cussing so much. I know that. Anyway, so it's necessary. We need to bring this to the forefront. And I'm so sick and tired of men saying, oh, you're complaining. Dude, those are facts.
Yeah.
You fucked up this goddamn country. You and your penises shooting everything everywhere, thinking you own everything. Like,
not shooting everything everywhere. I'm sorry, I had to recognize.
I would like to add that a true alpha male does not need to say he's an alpha male.
Okay, girl.
As a happily married individual to a true alpha male, because anybody that knows me knows I'm a tomboy for life. So you have to be more masculine than me to deal with me. I am straight down the middle. I'm in touch with my feminine, and I'm in touch with my tomboy side, and with my tomboy side. I was rough and tumble as a kid, and now I like both sides. But my husband, no. And he ain't never once said I'm an alpha male.
right. I know Eric has never said, I'm the alpha. Okay.
Of what?
Like, you got to say it. We get that a lot in the military community, in the veteran community. Humble alpha. Like, dude, you're stupid. You're dumb. Like, you sound dumb. You look dumb. If you have to call yourself that, you're completely insecure. But all these men are like, all the other primates.
Beta bitch say what?
Yeah. Beta say exactly.
But it's because we have this distorted, perverted view of what an alpha is.
Yeah.
Now, men, and when I say men, I mean boys. What boys they're looking up to is these men with this physique, these men in pornography with big egos, and these people with posh cars and luxury living. And they're thinking that this is the alpha male lifestyle. An alpha male is someone who is genuinely predominantly in his masculine energy with the ability to tap into his femininity when it is needed. When he needs to be the peacemaker, he is tapping into his femininity. When he needs to be the nurturer, he is tapping into his femininity and not shy away from that because it's thought of as an attribute of the feminine, but embraces it as a full faceted, true alpha male.
Exactly.
That's good. That
And
is
to kind of
good.
piggyback off of what you were just saying, I think that like over I don't know, maybe even 100 years, but especially after the last 30 years, we have labeled masculinity as toxic. And that's so dangerous because masculinity is not toxic. It's the lack of masculinity that's toxic. It's when you get these men that are in these positions that want to tell everybody that they're alpha, that are watching what you said, like idolizing the in the porn industry and all of these other things and saying like this is what a man is. We know that they have horrible ideology about masculinity, and that's what they take on themselves, right? It's lack of other strong men coming into their lives saying, hey, this isn't how it is to treat a woman or to treat children or to be a man in general. And so now we have a group of women that are raised up that are, 15 years old, 20 years old, 25 years old, and they're seeing this and they're going, well, if this is masculinity, this is toxic. And we're trying to come alongside and say, no, this isn't masculinity. It's the lack of masculinity. Masculinity, it's like what Jamie said. We're not trying to say we hate men. We're saying that we actually embrace men in its true form and we honor that. We need to see the true form and we honor it. And to go by you said, hey, like my husband doesn't have to tell me he's an alpha. I'm a tomboy. I can be in my feminine. I bet that your husband allows you by making you feel safe because of his true masculinity to be in your feminine and feel comfortable there because you don't have to take up that energy and be over there trying to do everything all at once. That's true masculinity. He's not competing with you. He's giving you space. And that's what it is, right? Like I feel.
And I love that you brought up that point about masculinity and toxicity, right? Because they've labeled it that way, and they're calling it that way on the news now, right? So what does everybody think about that? Like, how do we disparage that whole view for those of us who have sons or our nephews, or you know what I mean? Like, how do we disparage that view?
We need to understand that there are two words in that, and it is a descriptor word followed by an anchor point. So the descriptor word is toxic. Okay, men inherently are not toxic. It is a behavior that it exuded by a immature, fearful man / boy that creates a toxic behavior. It is when a person is forcing themselves, their energy upon another human being, and this is toxic. So it is not that just because you are masculine or have a schlong that you are automatically thought of to being as negative. But the problem here is that men were raised in a way, predominantly in a way in our culture anyways, to look away from emotions. Vulnerability is a weakness. Women are beneath you, insert reasons here. So this energy here that is now grown-ass men, because of where it has been taught from, right? They're continuously perpetuating that onto their children just by example of their existence, just by them living. It's not that they're saying, here, let's sit down and have a discourse over how you should behave as a man. No, our children, these boys are learning just by virtue of watching them in existence. And anytime a woman is speaking and you tell her to shut up or her opinions don't matter, or telling your child that his feelings don't matter, this is a toxic trait. Women, shocking all here, can also exude toxic masculinity. This is something that is not exclusive to just men. This is the overworking of the active side of the self, of the wanting to always be the leader. Sometimes you got to just put up and be the follower. Sometimes you can't just do things that are fanciful. You have to be practical and analytical. Okay. So we as women can also exude traits that are toxic masculine.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, so that could take us.
That's a whole other conversation right there.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say though, like, how my question for that too is how ancestral is that? Because the reason why I'm asking, right, is every time you watch some historical show, right, and you look at history and you look at, you know, and I'm talking about when it comes to like the takeover of countries and the battles between, and not only just the takeover of countries, right, but then also the battles between what they used to call pagans and Christians, right? Like, but you see in those times, like, women were never treated properly, right? So I want to know, like, how ancestral is all of this? Like, how much of that is learned? Like, it's so deep.
But it's depending on the culture. It depends on the culture. So we're just using American culture, right now, because otherwise this show would just never end. But if we start to look at ancient Egypt, we see women in power there throughout all of the lineages in Egypt. Revered.
All across the entire continent of Africa.
And the weird thing about the Egyptians, though, that I find interesting is that at a time, if a leader died, his wife was automatically killed and embalmed with him as property. So although she was revered and she was, I mean, set up as like a goddess almost, she was still revered as property. And I think that that's something that culturally I've looked at because I'm Chickasaw, my husband's Mexican. Mexican men typically very much respect their women, but they also have their place culturally. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, for my husband's first generation, that was something for us as a Chickasaw woman. My mom was a feminist. You ain't gonna come in and tell me what to do. And I had to learn that I was toxic. I was toxic because I was not giving him space to also be himself because I was so determined to tell you what was going to happen. And so we had to learn that culturally across the line. And then historically, like, it's crazy because sometimes even though women are dominant, they were still treated as property.
Mm-hmm. I choose to think that they killed her and sent her on along with him because otherwise he might not be able to figure out where to go.
For real,
those directions were hard, man. You know how many hieroglyphs you got to turn left here? I mean, life is complicated.
I like that. And I'm not saying that all of them did that, but I thought it was a really interesting fact to me. Like, this girl could have been in her prime. She's like, dang,
exactly.
Girl, he dead.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
I don't think women would have to step up and do shit if men would do shit. If you see something, do something. I shouldn't have to tell you to fucking take out the trash. Take out the goddamn trash when you see that it needs taken out. Well, I'm not your fucking mother. I'm not going to raise you. So if you don't want me to have to lead, then make decisions and stop leaving every goddamn thing up to me. I'm not going to nag you. I'm just going to do it. So if you want to emasculate yourself by not contributing to the household in any way, shape, or form, and you want to act strategic incompetence so you don't have to do anything, then don't do anything. And on your way out, you can take whatever shit you need with you because I don't want any of it. I don't want your emotional leftover bullshit. I don't want to have to handle your lack of masculinity or your lack of alpha. If you can't make a goddamn decision, act like a man, and do shit that you see and quit leaving it all up to me, I don't have to step up and be toxic.
Well, you're stepping up. Oh, hold on. You're stepping up, like Summer was saying that she was toxic. It was because she was overly in her masculine by being overly active, action oriented. We should have the ability to access our masculinity or femininity in a balanced way. This is what it's about. Everything is about creating balance, but you shouldn't stay there. You shouldn't stay there. We all have a predominant energy, and even the disconnector, who is the time.
Dang.
Either way.
Oh man, that was good. We just lost you for a second. So keep going. even the disconnected who was the tomboy, continue.
It's still going to exude the feminine traits with love and warmth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love
My
that.
husband
And the lack of
typically
accountability.
one of the
That's
traits.
oh, sorry. Go ahead. What, Brittany?
I said my husband is typically one of the only ones that ever sees those traits because I'm not very nice unless I'm like, you have to legitimately be somebody I absolutely adore to see my nice, sweet.
I'm not nice anyway. Nice is phony. I'm not nice.
I beg to differ.
You're in my circle though.
I was also about to say though, didn't last episode you say that you felt like kind people get walked on a lot? And so,
if we allow them to, yes.
Yeah. So I feel like that's definitely a protection
because
I agree with you.
We attract people that if we don't stop it, they will use us to the very last drop.
Boundaries.
And nice and kind are two different energies. Nice is something that you do as an action, and kind is a state of being. It's like saying happy and joy. They're not the same thing.
Absolutely.
They're coming from two different places. And kind people, they're learning the soul mastery of boundary. This is the purpose of this experience for them being walked on. And even and when we look at Buddha's traditions, it's like they will use violence at a certain point. You know, it's like, okay, we will pull back until a certain point until we have to defend ourselves. So it's not like you're just going out there like, you know, monks are strong, man. Monks will whip your ass. I'm just saying, but they won't.
But they
have to.
But they can.
Real quick.
But they can.
So just to shift it a little bit, because I think we can go on and on this topic. But the topic too was about success. So I want everybody to go around and define success for you.
Well, for me, simply being able to move the way that I want to, for me and my family. What that looks like, it can look like anything. It could be able to drop everything and go on a sudden vacation. It could be something happens in the family. We're available to tend to those things and help where we can. Just the freedom to move the way that we want to move, the way that we have positioned ourselves and earned to move the way that we move.
Mm-hmm. Summer?
So I didn't contribute the 5 things. I went back and forth, but kindness was one of them. Actually, I contributed a poem, but I will say, just touching on kindness, I remember when I started my business and like, I want to help everybody, right? Like I would make a horrible cop, because somebody would be stealing like T-bone steak and be telling me that they're trying to feed their baby. And I'd be like, oh, he's just trying to feed their baby. And why are they stealing T-bone steak?
The ramen noodles are right there.
Hot dogs, right? Mac and cheese, right? And my thing, I remember being in business and very quickly I had some friends come up and say, you are going to kindness your way out of business because everybody is going to see you and they're going to take advantage of you. And so, yeah, it is a balance. It's a balance of knowing your worth, not diminishing your value just because somebody else wants to take advantage of you. Mm-hmm. And that was something that I've had to learn in life that I've been able to pass on in business as well. But also not to get rough, not to lose my sense of who I am, even if somebody else wants to be mean, right? Like you want to be mean, you want to take advantage. I don't have to deal with it, but I'm not going to change my soul. I'm not going to change who I am. And that was like the basic principle of my business. Obviously, I'm a Christian business. I do health. But my idea was never to judge anyone. We would have atheists, agnostic, Muslim, everybody come in my store. There was a seat for you. I never pushed anything on anybody. I loved hearing the walk of everybody and just being able to appreciate and respect every person as they came in. And not try to change them, not try to push my values or my views on them, but to love them right where they were at and to learn from them. Be open-minded that if I close my mouth and listen to them, I can learn and I can grow. And that was something I had to learn in life is listen to hear, not to speak. And that's the same thing I did in my business was, one of those things is I wanted to hear people that were coming to me, not just offer my advice.
I love that. And to me, like that sounds like success, right? Also, the fact that you're operating, out of kindness because that's what you choose to do and that's what feels better for your business, and that you've learned not to allow yourself to be pushed over, but to still be kind, right?
Yeah.
So that sounds like success to me. What about you, Dominique?
So I feel that for me, success changes often. The parameters of success change. So when I opened my wellness center, the parameters for success was if I could stop one person from committing suicide, this venture would be successful. You know, if I am trying to get to a location to film something, the success measure would be maybe earning enough money to get me to that place so I can film, so I can then share that information with other people. The last few weeks, the success measure has been music and musical connectors. I want to make an album this winter. And so going to Michigan, the success was I need someone to teach me how to work the digital studio. And while I was there, someone named Brother Mikey, he's an artist. He was having an experience, and this is the third time he's run into me in this travel adventures that I do. And he said, I spoke with him. He says, Oracle, I don't believe in any of that stuff because I'm very distrusting, but something about you, you feel me? And he's kind of like a hood guy. I'm also a hood guy, so I'm speaking hood to you now. So at some point, he actually loses his voice. And I see him walking across the field towards my tent, and I'm like, oh, is he coming to me right now? And he gets there, and he's like, oh, man, I'm next on set, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, have a seat in my chair. So he sits in my chair, and I work on his throat chakra, and then I give him some honey and ice, and I send him off on his way. Someone crossing him comes back to me and says, Oracle, I just saw Brother Mikey. He said you choked him and then just sent him to the stage? Because the non-believer, right? The non-believer is going to take it literal. They're taking it literal. So, mind you, this festival is 1,000 people big. He gets on stage and he's like, hey, I'm Brother Mikey. I'm sorry, my voice is whatever. But when I sent him off the stage, I said, the moment you open your mouth to sing, your voice is going to be restored. Okay. Then the first song comes on. He does a short set. He does a half a set. Instead of 15, he does 6. As soon as the first song comes on, his voice doesn't crack, not a pitch change, nothing. Perfect voice. He does his whole set without cracking one time. At the end of his set, in front of the whole festival, says, I want to give a shout out to Oracle, whose tent is over there, because right before I came on this stage, I had no voice. And she did, and then people started yelling, so I couldn't even hear.
I'm wondering, though, did he say she choked me and took me away? You got some BDSM people coming over.
I have no idea. He may have. He made me better. I don't know. But he was, I messaged him today and he's like, wow, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And now we're going to actually swap. We're going to swap coaching. He's going to teach me how to do the digital studio, and I'm going to work on his anxiety.
Yeah.
But you're confident. You're confident in what you were doing, and you were confident in how you could heal him, and you were confident, like you were gentle in your approach with him too, I think.
Well, except for the choking
when
part.
When you're a good mechanic and someone brings you a loud car, you don't get all hype and go, oh my God, I'm gonna fix this for you. You just go, all right, give me the keys. That's it. I just need the permission. Give me the keys. I'll do the rest of it. Don't worry about it.
That's really good.
I've been doing this so long. That's how I feel like I'm at in the world, in my world anyways.
Yeah.
Good.
I like that permission thing, because when I would go do light therapy, or, I would do like vitamin care, and we would talk about everything from like breaking you down and then getting the light and getting everything together. I always understood from my side, right? But then I would go to my chiropractor, and one day, and he's like more holistic. And one day I'm at my chiropractor, and he's like, can I adjust you? And I was like, I'm laying on his table. Like, I've been coming to this dude for 10 years. I look up, I'm like, yeah. And he goes, I wasn't asking you. I was asking your inner self, because you're fine, but your inner self has not given me permission. And I think that that's so good. He was talking beyond what our conscious sometimes thinks.
Absolutely.
Did you even recognize that in that moment?
When he said it, yes,
Yeah.
because I trust him. I trust him with my children. I was laying on this table. I was ready for him to adjust me. I didn't know why he was asking me.
Mhm.
And when he said that at that moment, I was like this and my feet were bound. And it was like, yeah, he was asking my soul. My flesh had said, yeah, I'm here, right? And I think sometimes as Christians, we get weirded out by that. And that's where we get hindered when, we talk about meditation and things. And sometimes the church will say, you're meditating, you're worshiping the devil. And it's like, God made your spirit. He made your soul. You're sitting out here. You're sitting in the sunshine he created. You're talking and speaking to him. He spoke life into everything. If he's going to speak life into a bird and a leaf and a flower and a bumblebee, why can't you sit out here and talk to him in with your soul, separating everything physical? This world is not physical. If we pulled back the veil, there'd be so much revealed to us, but we walk around blind, and that hinders us and it hinders our walk. And so when you find somebody who's like, yeah, I'm asking your inner being, you've given me permission. Shut up, Summer. It was, I felt it. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Move out the way.
I got another show for you guys to come on. Because she's talking about that. I love the part about the energy, right? Like it's not really physical. Mm-hmm. We got to explore that on another show. This is not why we're here tonight, I know, but I definitely want to explore that on another show because some things just came up right now and I'm like, well, talk about it. But I want to get back into the magazine. We're going to take a quick commercial break, everybody, and then we are coming back. I want the Jamie Lane over there to tell us her definition of success, and we're going to get more into the magazine. We back. Yeah. So there's so much to unpack in what we were talking about, but I want to continue with this issue, and I'm going to say for all the ladies, you got to come back. We got to talk about that whole thing because there's some things that I experienced that I didn't even know until I started working with Dominique, and I'm like, ooh, this is yeah, interesting. And then someone just brought up a whole lot that I'm like, oh, we got to unpack this later, but. So everybody out there, if you are just joining us, we are here with the ladies of Radical Press Magazine. We are talking about this month's issue, drops September 20th. It is there for you to go get. You see the QR code right on the screen and the link right there as well. You can grab the magazine. As we have always mentioned, it is an experience, and this is something like you have never experienced before, I guarantee you. So make sure that you go get the magazine, and it is free. It is free for your enjoyment, for you to learn and grow from as well. And these amazing ladies have put their heart and souls into what they are providing for you. So Jamie Lane, tell us, what is your definition of success?
For me, I love everything you guys said. I was actually quoting you while you were talking, so I have some things that really spoke to me. So we're all connected. I've done a few, I just record episodes. I just start talking. But for me, I need to be able to regulate my emotions. I need to be able to know to remember to think before I speak, and to not just say, you know, like, are you fucking kidding me to somebody? And be like, oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. You know, because I don't believe in fluff. I don't like it. I think we've been taught as a culture to be nice. And we use words like, your son was distracted today. Oh, what did he do? Just tell me what he did. Use the words that were actually invented and the etymology of words. Please use them. And even like right now, I'm getting excited because it just, I'm losing tolerance, and it's upsetting to me because I think we should just be able to be truthful. Just talk. Can't we just talk? And when did it become a problem? Right. And it's very anxious for me, and it's very upsetting to me that we've come to a culture where we can't even just talk and use words that are words. I'm not going to get upset at Summer or whoever because they feel a certain way. That's so stupid. Like, just listen to her. Just be open-minded to hear what she might have to say as a Christian. So I realized in my business, boom, 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 right? I'm a badass. You can't fucking touch me. I just put on this mask and boom, like Jamie's. I can just tell immediately if somebody says something about their business, I really know what's missing. I really know how to audit that, get to the root of it immediately. I've been doing this so long. I'm like, oh, they think it's that, but it's really this, right? So I wanted to create systems for my life the same way I did for my business. There's terms and conditions in doing life with me. Okay. We can't just be free willy with everything. And I think that's important. And for us to separate ourselves, like we've been told to, as soon as you enter the door, you need to check that shit. I'm the same person. I don't want to separate myself because that's a mind fuck that if I own my nationwide corporate business, they can't know I smoke weed. Why? You know, that's so bullshit. And I had to hide. I'm so sick of it. So I felt like I couldn't do that business. I couldn't talk about it. I couldn't be successful over it. I couldn't, even though I reached all the milestones that you're supposed to meet, but I can't talk about that. Like another way of being suppressed, oppressed, and aggressed against. And so for me, it's putting life systems in place that help me regulate me. And I say it all the time. If it's not a resource, if it's not sustainable, get rid of it. And I really, especially now, because the older I'm getting, my body and the hormones and the trauma and stuff, the more they release. And I'm trying to process and make logic sense of why we've been filled with fluff instead of just dealing with what's real. And me telling someone they're a dumb fucktard is not probably the best way to say something to somebody. Even
What's wrong with that?
There isn't. I would rather be someone direct with. I'm serious, and I'm not joking.
I'm laughing because you're saying you want to be direct, and you should see the shirt that I have on today. Maybe I should be more direct. Don't be Richard. Maybe
Right? Like just
more direct.
And I get it, right?
Never shirt around. This is more direct.
We want to be professional. We want to be.
This is my professional way.
Yeah. And that's cool. It's just for me, like I need to know where I stand, and it's easier for me to process if it's correct. And my son helped me do that too, because he's like, Mom, what are you saying? You know, and I'm like, oh, well, I'm trying to reach around this bush. And no, bitch, I moved the bush and I'm talking to you straight. So I have to regulate that. That's success for me.
That's maturity. That's beyond success. That's maturity. That's growth as a human. That's another level that you've reached. It takes
Well, I haven't got there yet, fucktard, but I am on my way.
I think you're doing amazing.
Absolutely.
I'm here for it. Let's do
it. From somebody who was hiding behind all of, you know, what you were talking about, you know, all of the things that you were taught to do, right? And how you're taught to like act and how you need to be a certain way. And you know what I mean? Like, I love that you said that. You're just like standing in your truth. You know what I mean? Because it's difficult to do when you've had years of, I'm going to say, training, right? Yeah. You didn't even know you were being trained, but you were. Years of training to just be a certain thing. And like in this article I wrote about, like, for me, success initially was, you know, what I was taught, like the the house with the picket fence and the car and that all of that bullshit, right? I'm going to say it. I don't normally curse, but I'm going to say the bullshit. All the bullshit, right? And what I recognize is, and I love when Dominique said, it changes, right? Success changes because
That was good.
you get to define it for yourself. And that was my biggest point. I could have really just wrote just about that one point. You get to define your own success. It doesn't need to look like anybody else's. It doesn't need to be what you were taught. However you feel that you are successful in whatever moment that you feel it is successful is success. So I just love what all of you had to say. But, it just reminded me to say, stand in your truth. When you were talking, Jamie, just stand in your truth. And I guarantee you'll be a lot happier, right? Mm-hmm. Right. If you're able to do that, whatever that looks like for you, everybody out there. So let's talk about what's coming next. What's coming next?
So next month's issue is going to be an awareness issue. And I love that you hit on something today that, we're going to put, I heard something very startling, and I'm not going to say what it is. I don't want to go down that path because I think there's a time and a place. But yeah, the awareness issue. I think it's important. We need to bring awareness to things. We want to talk about things that people don't want to talk about. And it is child trafficking is one thing that is very difficult to speak about. Mm-hmm. I don't want to talk about it. And I realize, you know what? I'm part of the problem then if I don't want to, or if it's too uncomfortable for me. So I felt like growing up.
I want to stop you for one moment. I'm sorry, because Brenda put this up on the screen, because we've been talking about this since The Sound of Freedom, and we've been putting this up ever since because this is a serious issue in this country, and we need to get behind this. And then you continue, but I want to tell a story about something that just happened actually to a known producer here in the United States. But go ahead, Jamie.
So yeah, I think it's important. And that's one of those issues where a lot of the patriarchy, a lot of the mindset man culture for 247 years has given permission to politicians and alike in these agencies and institutions. You can't tell me with all the technology we got, we can't save kid. You can't fucking tell me that, motherfuckers. Don't try it. And I'm so sick of it. And we need to talk about it. And we need to say things that get to the root, the root cause of it. And it is the systems. It is the people in place. It is the people making these decisions in our country. And it has got to change. And how we change, we may not be able to change policies, but we can in our own circles, our own communities, say things and breathe things, attention, and somebody will pick up on it.
Yeah. Well,
say it again.
And let's just put this out there, and I'm going to say it, right? Like the powers that be in this country, put my quotes up, right, are part of the problem because oftentimes they're behind it, right? And they even alluded to it in the movie itself, right? So we gotta stop, who we're allowing to run things around here. And I'm just gonna put it like that, honestly. But I wanted to tell this other story, and I'm in an area where the trafficking is really high. In North Carolina and Georgia, they have like numbers through the roof, right? There are the top states in this country for child trafficking. It happens when people are just out at the Walmart, trying to get groceries and things that they need. And we had an incident here where a woman was there with her daughter, walking around trying to get things that she needed in Walmart. And these two men were following her around the store. And she, thank God, she realized what was happening and alerted someone to walk her and her daughter to their car and like kind of walk with them. So they did that, and she was safe. And those two men went away because she now had engaged some men from the store to help her. But it's happening way too often. So on the flip side of things, there's a man named David Ryan Harris. He's an American singer, songwriter, producer, guitarist, and he was traveling with his 2 sons. I don't know if you guys heard this story, but the son, he's an African American man. His wife is of a different culture, right? And they were lighter than him with light eyes, and they didn't think that they were his children. So the flight attendant alerted the authorities. They grabbed him off of the plane. Wow. And I say, wow, only because, you know, you want to make sure that people are treated properly and that they get to the bottom of things. The only thing that I would say is because and he was leaving from Georgia. So understandably, right, just noting that it's one of the higher child trafficking areas, it's better for them to take precaution. It's just they need to understand how to do it right, so that they're still, you know, doing it in a way that doesn't completely discredit the person without finding out for sure first, because there's ways to get to the bottom of things, right? So I understand why they did what they did, because the children just did not look like their father. However, he was their father. He's their biological father, and he was traveling with his kids. So it's like, where is the line for things like this? And how do you handle people in a way that's going to allow you to make sure that the kids are protected without, you know, discrediting the father, right?
Right. That's a good point.
Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up since you mentioned the child trafficking, but I love that you're talking about awareness for this next issue. And is it going to be just based around child trafficking?
No, that's the beauty, right? So I want everything to something different. Summer brought up foster kids, and I think it's interesting the link between the foster care system and the trafficking system. I want to talk about plastic pollution in our oceans. How can we eliminate plastic more? Where I'm guilty of it. I can't even believe what trash mongers we are, and it disgusts me. And I want to do better and want to do more. And they're small things, right? It's just small things we can do. And there's other things too. There's other things I want to bring awareness to, you know, the cystic fibrosis and cannabis for cystic fibrosis and cannabis for whatever. And, you know, there's just so many things. So whatever you guys want, whatever you can think of, if you just want to do a bullet point and you're just mentioning something and we talk about a little bit, but I'm going to put so much in there, and I'm going to use satire and curse words and points to be made. And, you know, so whatever awareness, I don't, in whatever form you got to do it, I don't care. We need to get our point across. So I don't.
So just to say something about the trafficking, because that's really, really close to my heart. I have one of my children that were being trafficked, and I won't say which one. And I have a very dear friend that was trafficked for a long time as a child. And it is something that we don't look at. Like we think Hollywood, or we think the movies, or we think these things. I just want to touch on too, these children that are being trafficked are not always used for sex. They are also used for organs.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
I do, because human trafficking, especially with children, is very close to my heart, especially as a foster child that aged out. These are children that are not only used just for use of sex. It is healthy organs on the black market. And a lot of times what they do with these children is they try to get the poorer children, the minority children, because they can get them before they have a birth certificate. They can get them before they are actually on the radar. Because if I don't have a trail, then I don't have to prove you're missing. And that's a lot of times why these prostitutes, I believe that we should not target sex workers. We should target the Johns. And the reason is because a lot of these sex workers are there because they're, one, trafficked. And when they have their children, they're kept in trafficking longer, or they are impregnated and they deliver their babies in hotel rooms without birth certificates. These babies are then taken and trafficked. So I love that you touched on that, because human trafficking goes so much deeper. We're in the hub. I-35 goes everywhere. We have Will Rogers Airport that goes internationally everywhere. We are one of the ones that watch out. The Super Bowl, when it comes, it's crazy at how many children are taken. But it's not just for what we think it is. I'm glad you touched on that, because it's so close for me. Yeah. And I just have to say, it's not just men. We like to just think about the dirty old man in the back room. My friend that was trafficked for years, you would not believe how many women came through. So it's not just men. We cannot overlook the fact that evil is evil.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we should touch on this next time, because this is something that really struck me too, especially after seeing that movie. It kind of woke me up even more, because it's happening, but once you start to put it in the forefront even more, then it's top of mind. And I think it's something that we should definitely cover for next time. I appreciate all of you ladies being here. Thank you for coming back. We're going to do this every month, everybody, to talk about the magazine and what's going on with the magazine, to have fun, but also, like Jamie said, to raise awareness, to talk about the things that everybody out here needs, right? It's necessary to wake up, to tell the truth, right? So we'll be here every month. Make sure that you join us again next month. We've got Brandy the Disconnector, Dominique the Oracle of Apollo, Jamie Lane, Radical Press founder and CEO, and Summer Garcia. We thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week right here on Whole Living.